see what we got here. Game Informer, now I'm going to have to cancel that. Drugs, maybe later. Bill, trash. See what we got here. Why did somebody pack a phone? Hey, dummy, come here. Hold this up real quick. I'm going to need to cut it open.
Please don't cut off my thumb this time.
Ding. Clean cut, as always. Now let's see what's in here.
One marvelous scene. Now go find the other ones. Tons of some of the best creators on YouTube all made videos talking about an interesting scene in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And once you're done with those, make your own. What scene do you think is interesting? Once you make one, tweet it to me at NandoVMovies and I'll put it on our playlist.
It's just so amazing to me that it all started with Iron Man. And 11 years later, and 22 movies in, we are now at Endgame. A movie, one of the highest grossing movies of all time, based on an Iron Man, a soldier, and a god fighting a giant purple CGI man. I'm just so proud to call myself a Marvel fan. So, with thanks of Nando Movies, who has allowed several different Marvel fans and comic book fans alike to make movies celebrating their favorite moments and scenes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So today, I'd like to share with you my one marvelous scene.
You didn't even move. Nah. Oh, then what if I come in on the left side, right? Just down here. You see this right now? I'll miss you, Scott.
If you were to ask me what my most underrated Marvel movie was, I would tell you it is Ant-Man. Ant-Man is a sincere character study of Scott Lang and Hank Pym, and holds one of my favorite supporting casts in all of the MCU. Luis and his crew are endearing, Hope is a great foil for Scott, and Scott's daughter is the most adorable peanut you will ever meet. Best of all, Ant-Man has the most terrifying villain in all the MCU, Baskin-Robbins.
3 years at San Quentin, huh?
You found out.
Baskin-Robbins always finds out.
On a more serious note, my favorite part of the movie is how it balances its stakes and scope in the story. One of my biggest gripes in the MCU is how they focus too much on large-scale stories without grounding it in realistic and compelling character interactions. Some of the worst movies the MCU has to offer feature the likes of Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 2, and Doctor Strange, and they all fail to reel it in and make it interesting. Each of these movies end with a muddy action scene that fails to anchor the huge stakes of the story to a small and relatable source. Now, what does this have to do with Ant-Man? I find it fitting that Ant-Man can be small or big depending on the situation, and his movie reflects this. There are world-ending stakes in the movie that need to be dealt with. It is a heist movie, and a good heist needs good stakes and tension to make it interesting and compelling. In fact, one might say the stakes are giant man. On the other hand, Ant-Man is a story about redemption and family and protecting the people you love, and appears to be a very small-scale movie at first. How does it balance the large-scale threat and a small-scale story? Let's set the stage and turn off the lights! Scott Lang is an ex-convict who used to steal from the rich, and now all he wants to do is reconcile with his past and spend time with his daughter. Scott is thrust into a heist plan where he has to become the Ant-Man so he can stop Darren Cross from giving the yellow jacket suit to war profiteers. He teams up with Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, and Hope, the daughter of Hank Pym. Hank Pym stresses the importance of the mission and sets up the stakes for the story.
Unless we break in and steal the Yellow Jacket and destroy all the data, Darren Cross is going to unleash chaos upon the world.
After Hank sets up the stakes for the story, it leads to what I would find as one of the best scenes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this is my one marvelous scene.
The chance to earn that look in your daughter's eyes, to become the hero that she already thinks you are. It's not about saving our world. It's about saving theirs.
Dan, that was a good speech.
This scene shows us many things about Scott Lang as a character. It shows us that he cares about his daughter, that he's a simple man, that he doesn't react as quickly to the world-ending stakes as he does what it means to him and his family. The connection to his personal motivation allows Scott to be personally invested in the large-scale story, while still maintaining a clear anchor to the small-scale story of Scott's personal life with his daughter. I would say, on a more personal level, this scene shows one of the biggest strengths of Ant-Man. It is full of great character moments, and it is abounding with emotions. The idea that both Hank and Scott are both fathers and want to earn the trust and love of their respective daughters is brilliant, as shown in my one marvelous scene. Hank passing down the torch and giving Scott the fire that he needs to do this heist, that he needs to succeed. If this scene didn't exist, then the whole movie would be worse off. The stakes would be too high without grounding it in great character relationships. Even the final battle, which could be described as a big, dumb superhero fight, is made better with good jokes and the location of the fight. Having the fight include Scott's daughter is brilliant, as it allows for the personal stakes of him going subatomic to make sense and to be emotionally resonant to the viewer.
He can see me. Hi, I'm Scott.
This scene would not resonate as well if it wasn't for the excellent performance by Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd. Michael Douglas does a great job portraying Hank Pym, a man broken from his past failures and wanting to seek amends with his daughter. On the other hand, Paul Rudd did an amazing job portraying Scott Lang. He really sells the whole ex-convict who just wants to be a good father. He's funny and exudes this likable charm in any movie he is in. I've always had this theory where I believed Ant-Man was made to be the MCU Spider-Man before they got Spider-Man from Sony. Because see, Ant-Man was made in 2015 and Spider-Man Homecoming was made in 2017. So I always believed that that was their original intention for Ant-Man, considering some of his roles and the way he acts in some of his movies. In some ways, I think Ant-Man is a better Spider-Man than Tom Holland. I'd like to see a Twitter poll like that. Who did it better? Retweet for Tom Holland, like for Paul Rudd. In my opinion, Ant-Man and Spider-Man make up the heart of the MCU, and with the end of the original 6 in Endgame, I have faith that they will continue to make up the heart and soul of the MCU. To end the video, I would just like to wrap everything in a nice little bow. Overall, I would classify Ant-Man as a small-scale story. There are large-scale elements to the story, such as the Pym particles in the majority of the final battle, but its strengths lie in the smaller details. We need stories like these, stories that ground the Marvel Universe in relatable struggles. A father who wants to earn the love of his daughter.
Daddy! I love you so much.
I love you too. So much.
Or maybe even a teen who learns that with great power comes great responsibility.
Look, when you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you.
As the MCU keeps on growing, its stories will only grow larger and larger. My hope is that we come back to these small-scale stories that form the heart of the MCU, because size matters.